Hello, and welcome to my tutorial about how to submit your Apple Watch app up to the App Store. First, if you don't have an Apple Watch app, this tutorial is going to mean nothing to you. So if you're interested, I teach a class on Apple Watch programming. It walks you through making 14 different apps, shows you all the different cool stuff in WatchKit. So if you want that, go to applewatchclass.com and by just using that URL, it will preload in a coupon that I've made specifically for you. Because you've watched this, I thought you'd give you a reward. But anyways, if you want to learn more, applewatchclass.com. The other thing I just wanted to say before we get started is this tutorial is about 30 minutes long. It took me 2 hours to film it. And that's because I kept running into all these different bugs and errors. And and I try and address those in the video to share what solutions worked for me. But if you're following this and you're getting errors that I didn't get, the thing that really worked for me was just Googling whatever the error was and trying to find people on like Stack Overflow or somewhere else that had the same errors. And doing that, I was able to make it through. So, and if you need anything, send me a message. Hopefully I can get you in the right direction or someone else can help you get there. But yeah, so with that, let's go dive into the tutorial. Okay, you ready to share your app with the entire world and upload your Apple Watch app to the store? I know I am. Let's freaking do this. So before we get on and do anything, I'm going to assume that you have two things. One, a completed iOS app with a WatchKit extension. So as it is right now, if you can only submit Apple Watch apps as they're like an extension of an iOS app. So you have to have an iOS app and a WatchKit extension. If you don't have those, there's lots of resources online. I have a class that teaches you how to make this, but I'm assuming you already have this, okay? So that's the first thing I assume you have. The second one is I'm assuming that you're enrolled in the iOS developer program. To submit apps to the App Store, you need to be enrolled in this iOS developer program. It's 99 bucks a year, and please don't let you hold this back. I know a lot of people that say, why should you ever have to pay money to submit to the store? Apple is just blah, blah, blah. Just do it. Don't let 99 bucks stop you from sharing your app with everybody. And hopefully, if it does all right, you can recoup this cost and it won't be a big deal. So these are the two things that I assume that you have: a completed app, both the iOS and WatchKit side of it, and then you're enrolled in the iOS developer program. Okay, so now let's open a web browser. I'm going to open up Safari, and let's go to developer.apple.com. Okay. So here, if you scroll down and you go to App Store here in the resources, and scroll down here and go to WatchKit. By the way, this is like a treasure trove of, if you're submitting an app to the App Store, these are like Apple's official documentation about things that you should know. So we're going to hone in here, especially on WatchKit. If you want the full URL, that's developer.apple.com/app-store/watch. But in here, Apple really lays out kind of the big things that you need to know in order to get your app into the store. So a big one is the app icon. You want to have an icon that's 1024 by 1024. It has to be a square icon, so don't like try and pre-round it like this or anything. Just be a complete square. It talks about the screenshots, the size that they should be. Don't frame it inside of an Apple Watch fake little thing trying to simulate it. Just do the full square thing. If you submit an icon that doesn't have dark edges, you're going to get this little gray line around it. What's the official term they use? If your icon is designed with a light or white background, a hairline stroke will be added. Oh, cool. Yeah, so anyways, there's just really good information in here. Those are kind of the key things, but just a good resource if you want it. And of course, they've got links to WatchKit development tips and their design resources. Tons of awesome stuff there. Okay, so now that we have that, let's check out the app that we're going to submit. So I created a tip calculator, and this tip calculator doesn't do a whole lot. I'm going to go ahead and run it. You're probably going to be embarrassed by this, but for me it was kind of a cool app. It works and it does what it's supposed to. It calculates the tip for if you went on a meal somewhere. So we'll open up the simulator here, say, oh, my meal costs $30, I want a 15% tip. Well, then your tip is going to be $4.50 for a total of $34.50. Yeah, so very simple app, and you'll notice the icon that I gave for this app was just like a green thing. I'm not really focused on this being an app in the App Store. I just want to show you the process of submitting. So again, also on the iOS side of this, it's just this green gradient thing. And also, I haven't even done anything with the iPhone app. If we go ahead and look at it, it's just a white box. Like, I only did the Apple Watch stuff. So I'm pretty sure Apple's going to reject this because they do require in the documentation that you have a working iOS app, that it's not just a shell for your Apple Watch app. And I mean, the icon that I provided, it's pretty bland. But again, that's not the important thing. I want you to see the process of submitting an Apple Watch app to the store. So assuming you have these things, let's go back to our web browser, and we'll just go to developer.apple.com, and this time we want to go to the Member Center, and I'm going to put in my account. I'm using my Made Up by People account. Go ahead and sign in. Oh, we need to, apparently this wasn't the right password. Okay, there we go. So now that we're in, I'm going to go to iOS right here. Okay. And inside of here, we want to go to certificates, identifiers, and profiles. Okay. So we'll click on that, and first let's go to certificates. So if you don't have these already, you need to have a iOS distribution certificate. If you need one of those, hit this plus button here, and you're going to want this one for the App Store. Okay, and you'll hit continue, and you'll get walked through exactly how to do that. But just make sure that you have a certificate for iOS distribution. It should be for the App Store. Okay, so once you have that in place, now let's go to our identifiers. So these are all the different apps that you want to submit to the store. So one that I've already submitted to the store is this soundboard app, and so that's there. Let's add a new one for our tip calculator. So I'm just going to call this tip calculator. This is kind of for your reference, so it's not like this is going to be shown in the App Store, so you don't have to be super crucial with what your name is there. And then for this app ID, usually what you do is a reverse domain name styling. So commonly, if you have some sort of website, you do kind of your website backwards. So I have the website madeupbypeople.com, so I'm going to do com.madeupbypeople.tipcalc, something like that. So usually it's just kind of like this, couple of words and a dot, couple of words and a dot, and people usually do their domain backwards so that this way no one else kind of uses their thing. Like, since I own this website, no one else is going to have com.madeupbypeople.tipcalc. But you don't have to do this, right? Like, you could just say, my name is Jim.yourmom.hello, like whatever you want, but I'm going to do the com.madeupbypeople.tipcalc, just like that. Okay, so now that we have that, I'm going to go ahead and copy that just in case I need it later. And then here we have all these different options for these different services that you can have. App groups, data protection, HealthKit, HomeKit, Apple Play, you don't need any of these. The one that you might is if you've used app groups in your app. So you will have probably already had this set up, but especially if you're using like core data or some sort of database so that the Apple Watch and the iOS app can talk to each other, you probably will have this and you'd want to select that. But I don't for this app, so I'm just going to go ahead and hit continue. And we're not done yet. We still have to go and hit submit here. Okay, now it says the registration is complete. We'll hit done, and you'll see it shows up in this list. Okay, so now that that's there, let's go ahead and make a provisioning profile for this. So a provisioning profile is something that you need that it wraps both the certificate and the identifier together to go then allow it to be submitted to the store. And don't let this confuse you. Like in this devices stuff, this is if you want to do some testing, but don't let this confuse you. You know, at least when I first did this was very confusing to me. It's like certificates, identifiers, provisioning profiles, what all, all it is you make a certificate that just says this is what I submit to the store through this iOS distribution certificate. Then for app identifiers, you just need an identifier for each of your individual apps. And then a provisioning profile is just bundling those two things. Now, it's probably more complicated than that, and it's not completely technically correct, but at the end of the day, that's really all you need. So go ahead, hit this plus button. I'm going to make one for the App Store. Okay, and it says which app ID would you like to use? I want to do the tip calc one. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and hit continue, saying which certificate do you want to use. The only option is distribution, which is great. Hit continue. And then for your profile name, just do like the name of your app in App Store. So I'm going to do tip calculator app store. And this again is not something that's shown up on the store. This is more for your reference, but with these provisioning profiles, you make some of these for like testing, some to submit to the store. So I'm going to be very explicit and say tip calculator app store. Okay, so I'm going to hit generate, and the provisioning profile is ready. So there should be a way in Xcode to automatically import it, but I always think it's safe just to go ahead and hit this download so you have it on your computer if you need to. So now that we have that done, let's go back to Xcode, and we are going to, if we click on our downloads, let's open up this little guy that we downloaded, and for some reason mine has not finished downloading. Maybe try that one more time. I'm gonna hit download. Oh, where'd I go? Okay, I'm gonna hit download, and there, that one works. So go ahead and open that, and now if we click on the tip calculator up here, okay, and we want to click on this top one, the iPhone app, we go into build settings, scroll down a bit. We want to go here to the code signing section, and we're going to come here and say for release we want iPhone distribution. Okay, and for the provisioning profile we want tip calculator app store. Okay, and actually a good way to do this is if you select tip calculator for app store here, the one that we just created, you can go back and change these to automatic, and it should just plug in the certificate that came with that provisioning profile. So assuming that that's great, let's go ahead and hit Control B, just make sure things are okay. Yeah, build succeeded, that's great. But we do need to go to here inside of the iOS app, inside of the supporting files, this info.plist, and we need to change this bundle identifier to be exactly what we had here on the website under our app identifier. So I'm going to copy this one more time. Okay, I'm going to come back here to Xcode, and I'm going to paste that in. Okay, that looks great. And now that we've done this, let's hit Control B one more time. That's great that worked. Now let's go up here and make sure we don't have the Apple Watch app selected, but the actual iOS app. That should be the one at the top of the list. And once you have that selected, go ahead and select iOS device. You don't need to have an iOS device plugged in. You can just choose this one. But if you open this list and you don't see iOS device, or even if you have one plugged in, you don't see it there, that's probably because you have the Apple Watch app selected instead of the iOS app. So you need the iOS app selected, but once you have that, you can then go to Product, and we want to hit Archive. Okay. So here we go. It's archiving the tip calculator. Yay! We'll just wait for this guy. Waiting, and we have a build failed. Okay, let's see what's wrong. Binary is not signed with the same certificate as the parent app. Verify the embedded binary's target code. Sign settings match the parent's app. So I was able to get this working. I had to do a couple of things. So one was I had to go here to the tip calculator, and I had to say that on the project tip calculator, not the iOS app or the WatchKit extension, I had to say that the provisioning profile was the one that we had, everything was automatic. I had to come to the tests and make the provisioning profile automatic and make the rest of these iOS developer. So I'm going to try again to go product, archive. We'll keep our fingers crossed for this one. Okay. Come on. Big money, no whammies. Boom, there it is. Okay, so here we have our tip calculator. We can check out our estimated size and whatnot. Okay, so let's go ahead and hit submit and choose your account. Okay, so it's going to prepare to archive. Everything's looking awesome. Okay, but you'll notice when we go to hit submit, it's going to go through all of these things. Uploading archive, So it's saying, hey, there's no software with CF bundle identifier exists. Make sure the bundle identifier is correct, and that you may need to log into iTunes Connect. So we've done everything on the Xcode side of this, and we even went into that developer.apple.com to add the certificate and the identifier provisioning profile. But we still need to go to iTunes Connect. And iTunes Connect, if you don't know, is where you manage everything that goes into the App Store. So that's where you're going to change like the title, the screenshots, like all that jazz. So just go to itunesconnect.apple.com. Okay, we'll wait for this guy to load. And now that you're inside, you can look at My Apps. So there's that soundboard app that I already have. And to do a new one, just go ahead and hit this plus button. We're going to say New iOS App. So I'm going to call this Tip Calculator with Apple Watch version 1.0 SKU. I think this just has to be a bunch of letters and numbers. So I'm just going to put in some gibberish. Primary language, I'm going to do English. Bundle ID, I'm going to use the tip calculator, the one that we created. Okay, so we'll go ahead, hit create. And now we have this popped up. So there's a ton of stuff in here, but we want to scroll down a little bit here, and this is where we're going to submit a build, and that's where we need it to show up here. So hopefully, now that that's created, let's go back to Xcode. Okay, so we'll hit submit, choose our account, wait for it to prep, and we'll go ahead and hit submit and wait for this to be sent off to Apple. Okay, we made it. This means a lot if we get this green check. If you don't get this and you're having problems, like, don't worry, just Google whatever the error code is. You can probably get some help online. You can ask me for help, but if you get here, this is great. In fact, I'm going to take a screenshot because I'm so pumped up right now. So once you have that submitted, go back to Safari and check how your app is doing. You're going to want to go to this pre-release tab here. And so when I first submitted this, I submitted version 1.0, and it was processing for a while, but then it said invalid binary. And then I got an email from iTunes Connect that said, hey, some of your icon images had alpha in them, and you can't have that. So I went and tried to remove them all, but I forgot to do one because I submitted 1.1 with what I thought had everything, but I was wrong. So then I went and submitted 1.2 again. So anyways, go to this pre-release tab to see if the version that you submitted was accepted. as long as it was, you can go down to the build section, hit the plus button down here and add the build. So in my case it's 1.2 because I messed up on 1.0 and 1.1. So anyways, there's a ton of info you want to fill out, but I'm just going to kind of run through it quickly, everything that you need to put in here. I added some kind of dummy screenshots here. I put in a description, some keywords, support URL. The Apple Watch icon, this has got to be 1024 by 1024. Remember, a solid square. They'll make it look like a circle though. Upload a screenshot. And you can get screenshots for both the Apple Watch and the iOS app by when you're running it. Let's say you have your, this is a good example because you need to run on something more than an iPhone 4S. So let's just do iPhone 6. We hit play, and you'd probably want to have your actual Apple Watch app running. But let's try this again. Where's our little watch man? Hardware, external displays, Apple Watch. Okay, so let's try this one more time. It works. So anyways, if you go from here and then you hit Command S, or you just go File, Save Screenshot, that's going to give you a screenshot of both the iOS app but also the Apple Watch app. So you can actually, here I'll do an actual legit screenshot, this one here. So anyways, update that, and I'll delete this other one. So anyways, we have that info there. Put up your app icon. This is again 1024 by 1024. You just set the rating and category. You need to come down here, put in your app review information. And you also need to go to pricing. Oh, I need to hit save before I go anywhere. You need to go back to pricing and set what price you want it to be. We want ours to be free, all that good stuff. I've already set this, so I'm not going to do anything there. Just hit cancel. But once you have all that, hit submit for review. Hope you don't have any problems. Good. And then it asks, is your app designed to use cryptography? No, it is not. Does it display third-party content? No. Does it do advertising stuff? No, it's too tiny for that. So you do all that. You hit submit. And boom, baby, waiting for review. And that is how you submit an Apple Watch app for review. Well, to the App Store. Now we gotta wait for this to be approved. And a great website to check out is iOS review time. Just Google that, and appreviewtimes.com. That's what it is. This is a really good website that just shows what developers have been reporting. So if you submit your app today, it's usually about 8 days until you hear back from Apple about whether it got accepted or rejected. So yeah, this is a great website to look at. So anyways, hopefully this was helpful for you. Well, thanks a ton for watching. Really hope that helped you get your app up on the store. And if you do get it up and approved, I'd love to see whatever app it is that you created. So if you do, please leave a comment here, and both I and everyone else watching the video, we can go check out what you made. So if you enjoyed this video, I'd love to see you in my Apple Watch class. Again, the link for that is applewatchclass.com. And inside of there, I already have a coupon preloaded for you to get it at a discount. But thanks a ton for listening, and hope this helped.